Hi, I'm Steve, owner of skis.com, and today we're going to talk about how to select a ski boot. I like to say this is really the 3 F's: fit, flex, and features. All right, let's start with fit. You probably should watch the video, how to buy the correct size ski boot, to get a little more detail. We're just going to kind of cover this briefly, but obviously it's important to pick the correct size. Most people tend, or a lot of people tend to buy boots that are a little too large, and that's because they feel okay when you first put them on, but as the day goes on, their boot seems to get larger because their foot sort of shrinks and the foam gets compressed. So it's very important to buy the right size boot. Like I say, see the video on how to size your boot, and that'll also help you as well. The next thing we want to talk about is boot width. Boot width is very important for 2 reasons. One is for the shape of your foot, and the second is for the type of skiing you do. Now, as also talked about in the boot fitting video, you need to determine if you have a wide, narrow, or normal foot and adjust accordingly, but also boot widths are also a function of performance. As you get better in your skiing ability, you typically want a boot that's going to be tighter, more form-fitting. So typically boots come in widths of between 95 millimeters and about 106 millimeters. As a general rule, let me give you some numbers to work with. Beginners should pick boots usually in the 102 to 105 range. Intermediates should pick boots generally around 100 to 102 millimeters. Advanced to experts probably between 98 and 102, and racers typically will buy really narrow 95 to 98 because they don't even care if their feet hurt while they're on the race course, and then they just unbuckle the boots at the end. But for most of us, we want our boots to fit properly. So you can use those numbers, but adjust. If you have a wider foot, go up a little bit, and if you have a narrow foot, go down a little bit. It didn't used to be the case, but nowadays you can actually find very high performance boots in actually wide widths. So, and the way to do that is if you go on our website and you search for boots that are a wide width, but a flex of 90 or above, usually boots that are 90 or above are going to be high performance boots. And if you search for a width of about 104 to 106, you're going to find the widest boots that are the highest performance. So it doesn't mean that you people with wide feet that have high skiing abilities have to cram your feet into a boot. The liner is the next component of your ski boot to determine the fit. And as you go up in quality of ski boots, basically what you get is a more custom fit liner to your foot. We call it lasted liner, which is actually built around your foot. Higher end liners will have memory foam or some kind of moldability in them, and they'll also kind of have some nice little features like a thicker tongue and elastic toe box. So a good liner will feel much softer on your feet and increase your skiing enjoyment. All right, the next F is flex. Flex is a very important component of a ski boot because it really determines how well the boot is going to ski based on your skiing ability. The boot is the direct connection to the ski, so you want the kind of boot that's going to fit properly and flex properly, so as you move your knee, the ski moves directly. If you buy a boot that's too soft, then there's going to be too much play and your skis are not going to respond. If you buy a boot that's too stiff for your skiing ability, then you're not going to be able to flex the boot properly and you won't be able to engage your skis. So it's really important to match the proper flex to your skiing ability, and it's not really very difficult to do. Basically, you need to ask yourself 3 questions. What's my skiing ability? What speed or how fast do I ski? And how much do I weigh? As a general rule, I'll give you some general rules and then you can adjust these for skiing speed and weight. Beginners are typically going to use flexes of between 50 and 70. You can notice on our website that we do list the flexes of most boots, even though they're not actually listed on the boot. Intermediates usually between 70 to 80. Advanced skiers are usually going to go a 90 to 100 flex, and expert skiers are going to do 100 flex or higher. Now, if you're a very fast skier and you like to really pound your skis hard, then you probably want to go up a little bit on the flex. Or if you're a heavier skier, you may want to go up a little bit on the flex as well to keep that boot flexing properly. Again, if you're a lighter skier, very, very lightweight, you might actually want to go down 10 degrees or number 10 on the flex. The last F are features. We talked about this in more detail in the differences between ski boots, but quickly to go over them. Micro adjustable buckles so that you can adjust the boot to be the exact tightness of your foot. Power strap so you can get that cuff nice and tight. Side cuff adjustment, my personal favorite, so that you can adjust the cuff to fit perfectly with whether or not you're bow-legged or knock-kneed. If you're bow-legged, you're going to ride on your outside of your skis, and if you're knock-kneed, you're going to ride on the inside of your skis. So the cuff adjustment allows you to adjust the upper cuff on a boot so you ride flat and straight. Flex adjustments on the back, which allow you to make the boot softer or stiffer. Other features that make it easier to get in, like a hinged cuff or a dual density liner. And some boots have things like built-in heaters and avalanche beacons and things like that. So features are the last thing that kind of make the difference between the fine-tuning of a ski boot, just getting those last little bits of space out of there and adding comfort to it. Okay, to wrap this up, let's go through the questions that you want to ask yourself in order to determine which boot will be right for you. So the first F is fit. You want to make sure you pick out your true foot size. I strongly recommend that you watch the video on how to size a ski boot so you make sure you get the right size boot and determine whether your foot is wide, narrow, or normal. Second F is flex. We talked about the different flexes. You want to pick the flex that's right for your skiing ability, adjusting it for how fast you ski, going up, and if you're above weight going up or below average weight, to move the flex down. And lastly being the features. The features are really more of a function of budget. The more money you have, the more features you can get on your boot, which add performance and fine-tuning. Okay, so in conclusion, buying ski boots online is really not that complicated. A lot of people are really surprised that people will buy ski boots online, but we actually sell thousands and thousands of ski boots online every year. And we have tools online to actually help you do this much more easily. You can use tools on our website to filter by size. You can filter by the width of the boot. You can filter by the flex of the boot, and you can filter by the skier's ability. So using those filters, it'll kind of help you dial in to the exact boot or exact combination of boots that'll be right for you. Then you can use our compare feature where you can pick the boots that you like, line them up next to each other, and actually see what is the difference between those boots all on the same screen. When your boots arrive at your house, I also recommend that you watch the video on how to fit your ski boots. They tell you how to actually try them on and see how they fit to make sure they fit right. It's important that the ski boots fit basically right out of the box, but almost all skiers, particularly high-performance skiers, have usually a little pressure point here or a little bit of slippage there. And so for that, I recommend doing some custom boot fitting. Even though I own a shop, I actually find the custom boot fitting at the slopes is far easier, because the key to custom boot fitting is doing a little bit of tweaking here and there. So when I'm out at the slopes, I can ski on the boots, go down to the local shop at the foot of the hill, have them do a little custom fitting, expanding the boot, putting in some spacers or foam to reduce the space of the boot, go out and try it, come back, and based on 2 or 3 visits, I can usually dial those boots right in. And then lastly, we always recommend getting some kind of a footbed for your boot. You can either buy a ready-made footbed or have a custom footbed made also at that ski shop where they're doing the custom fitting to really make sure those boots just fit you just like a glove. And that's it on ski boots.